most of us pedestrians never heard of it. Now it's the most controversial drug on the face of the planet. It's worse than heroin, it's worse than opioids, it's worse than anything. If you listen to the media, and you listen to others, so-called scientists. Steve Hatfield is a veteran virologist, and he recently wrote, there are now 53 studies that show positive results of hydroxychloroquine in COVID infections. There are 14 global studies that show neutral or negative results, and 10 of them were patients in very late stages of COVID-19, where no antiviral drug can be expected to have much effect. Of the remaining 4 studies, 2 come from the same University of Minnesota author. The other 2 are from the faulty Brazil paper, which should be retracted, and the fake Lancet paper, which was. What is going on here? This is very bizarre. And then I have this. An article written by Harvey Risch, who is a professor of epidemiology, Yale School of Public Health, author of over 300 peer-reviewed publications. And he writes in part, I'm usually accustomed to advocating for positions within the mainstream of medicine. So I've been flummoxed to find that in the midst of a crisis, I'm fighting for a treatment that the data fully support, but which for reasons having nothing to do with a correct understanding of the science, has been pushed to the sidelines. As a result, tens of thousands of patients with COVID-19 are dying unnecessarily. Fortunately, the situation can be reversed easily and quickly. So you read this as a non-medical expert, as a non-scientist, as a non-professor, and you go, what in the world is going on here? The president is promoting it. We see some doctors promoting it. They're blown off Twitter. They're considered kooks. And here we have this top Yale professor who says, wait a minute, that's not true. Professor Risch, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Nice to be here.
The question is, you've looked, I take it, at all these studies, and what do you conclude?
I conclude the evidence is overwhelming. There's no question that in the people who need to be treated and are treated early, it has a very substantial benefit in reducing risk of hospitalization or mortality. And there's been a massive disinformation campaign that stretches from the government to the media that's either suppressing this message or it's countering it with a false message. And I'm not an expert in the reasons why that's happening other than just observing it, but I am an expert in the science, and I can tell you the science is all one-sided. In fact, the science is so one-sided in supporting this result that it's stronger than anything else I've ever studied in my entire career. The evidence in favor of hydroxychloroquine benefit in high-risk patients treated early as outpatients is stronger than anything else I've ever studied. So scientifically, there's no question whatsoever.
And most of the studies that are cited by the government scientists and the media are studies that do not treat patients early in the virus. Is that correct?
It's either that they cite studies that are hospitalized patients, or they cite studies such as the Bulwer studies from Minnesota that treat low-risk patients. These are people under age 60 with no chronic conditions and so on, people who will survive the virus with just on their own, without treatment, almost entirely. And those people, virtually nobody's hospitalized, so there's no room to do better when the people who don't get the medication are already doing as best as one could hope. So those are low-risk people, and we're not talking about treating low-risk people. We're talking about treating people over 60 or with chronic conditions or obesity, diabetes, and so on. Those are the people who are at risk of being hospitalized and dying from this illness. Those are the people who have to be treated. And all the studies, every one of the studies that looks at that group of people has shown benefit. There are no studies in those people that show lack of benefit.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, he's been in the government 52 years. He heads the infectious office in the federal government for a very, very long time, really over 3 decades. And when he's asked about this during testimony, he absolutely blows off hydroxychloroquine. He says the science is the science. You tell us the science says yes. He says no. Has Dr. Fauci ever called you and asked you your opinion and why you have the opinion that you do?
No. Dr. Fauci
And
has,
you're renowned. I've done research on your background. You're a renowned expert. You're at one of the top schools in America. Let me ask you this. Has the head of the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, ever contacted you and asked you about your review of these various studies?
he's not contacted me for that purpose. During the time when the FDA was considering a petition for early use authorization in outpatients of hydroxychloroquine that was submitted by the Henry Ford Hospital doctors, during that time I filed a brief with the FDA demonstrating both the evidence that supports usage and the complete lack of harm, the complete lack of any systematic data that the FDA has said on their website that they don't have. Just reading what they say on their website shows that they have no data about adverse events in use in outpatients. He responded, I sent him this by email as well as FedEx, and he responded thanking me for that. That is the only contact I've had with him.
So none of the heads of these various government entities have bothered to consult with you. And basically, when you go on these various media programs, particularly on CNN, they spend most of the time reclaiming their time and interrupting you and making it impossible for you to explain why you have the position that you have. And when we come back, I want to spend a little bit more time looking at these studies. We'll be right back.
TracFone Wireless gives you unlimited carryover data. $20, no contract.
$20? Wow, that's great.
Yeah, hit decline. I don't want to talk to her. Hit me, get me. This is your wake-up call, people. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control.
You look great.
You look great too. 2 days using Carousel and I started to look better.
Me too.
Now Carousel starts improving the appearance of fungus-damaged toenails in just 2 days.
That's why we look so good.
Only 2 days, Carousel.
If you struggle to lose weight, you might think you were born with a slow metabolism. That's exactly what these people thought. But the truth is, a slow metabolism can be created by a condition called insulin resistance. Once you have insulin resistance, fat becomes trapped inside your body and it becomes very difficult to lose weight, even if you crash diet. But now there's a solution to insulin resistance. It's a completely new way to lose weight called GOLO. GOLO works to reverse the effect of insulin resistance, increase metabolic efficiency, and target stubborn belly fat. Join over 500,000 people who have found a smarter way to lose weight and get healthier without starvation dieting. GOLO allows you to step off the yo-yo dieting merry-go-round and obtain lasting results just like these people have.
I lost 75 pounds with GOLO.
Head to GOLO.com now. That's GOLO.com. Go lose weight, go look great, go love life at GOLO.com.
I'm Doug Hirsch. You may already know that GoodRx can help you save up to 80% on your prescriptions. Unfortunately, many Americans can't get to a doctor right now. The good news is that for many health issues, you can see a doctor online. It's easy. Just go to GoodRx.com, and with a few clicks, you'll be treated by a licensed medical professional, all from the comfort of your own home. Visits are confidential and affordable. Need a prescription? Your doctor can send it to your pharmacy or have it mailed to you. Get the healthcare you deserve at GoodRx.com.
Give yourself a moment to get comfortable and cozy as you settle in for tonight's story, based on the Gospels.
Fall asleep now with Bible bedtime stories, exclusively on the Pray.com app.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Varilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find a perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
Fox Thursday Night Baseball rolls on. And this week, Bryce Harper and the Phillies take on Juan Soto and the Nationals. Phenomenal war. The A's battle the Rangers. Thursday at 6:30 Eastern on Fox.
Hope. It is the light in all of us that cannot be extinguished. It rages on to give us a glimmer of what we can do and of who we can become. Because hope fuels opportunity. University of Phoenix is awarding up to $1 million in new scholarships through September. Yes, hope is alive and well. See what scholarship you qualify for at phoenix.edu.
If you're a man making too many bathroom trips, try Super Beta Prostate Advanced. It's the only formula with Prostafend, an advanced blend to help you reduce bathroom trips both day and night. Available at Walmart and other fine retailers.
Whether it's brides to roll over or an overdue makeover, get all your pet essentials right when you need them with curbside pickup at PetSmart. And enjoy 15% off when you buy online and pick up in store.
Welcome back. Dr. Harvey Risch is an expert epidemiologist from Yale, a PhD, a doctor. Doctor, I want to ask you this question. People with heart disease or asthma, are they likely to die or have a certain type of critical reaction to this drug?
No. The evidence is that healthy people with heart disease generally do fine on this medication, but like any medications, they should be prescribed by a doctor who's actually following the patient, knows what to expect, and is able to monitor it. And all medications should be used that way, and this is no different. But in general, this is a very safe medication. The medication itself has, in some people, perhaps 10% of normal people, can change the pacing of the heart muscle contractions, called the heart rhythm. That change has only measurement value. In other words, if you measure it on an electrocardiogram, you can see it. It has essentially no bearing for almost everyone who has that as to any risks for a real arrhythmia that has potentially life-threatening consequences. It is a very, very, very low risk.
It's interesting you should say that. On May 15, the Washington Post, drug promoted by Trump as coronavirus game changer increasingly linked to deaths. That was the headline that was blared. Is that true? It's increasingly linked to deaths? And what's their data for this?
First of all, it doesn't say in which patients. If you're talking about very sick hospitalized patients who get it as a last-ditch effort because nothing else is working, then there might be some relationship like that. If you're talking about healthy outpatients who are getting it among for example, the 10 billion people who've gotten this over the last 65 years, there's no relationship at all. And so you have to be very specific about who you're talking about when you make statements like that.
You know, again, as a pedestrian, no expert, but I read the various reports, I read what you write, and I draw my own conclusions from this. It is incredible to me that in the middle of this pandemic, that a drug that has been used for over half a century, where the testing has been so thorough, and it's been ubiquitous, and it's so cheap, each pill is very, very cheap, that there is this effort to fight it and to destroy the doctors and the experts who dare to suggest that in the early stages, even maybe as a prophylactic, you might want to use this if it's prescribed by a doctor. Now pharmacists are afraid to provide it, and now doctors are concerned to prescribe it, and some hospitals won't prescribe it. And this has been politicized in an incredible, incredible way. And you write here, wait a minute, this drug can save thousands and thousands of lives. Have you ever seen anything like this?
Never know that somehow we've let politics overrule science. And it's an absurd situation. People have compared this to 1984 and the Ministry of Truth and so on. That's limiting what people can say on objective facts. It's beyond belief.
And I watch when you do interviews on other networks, these so-called news hosts are literally angry at you. They're shouting you down, they're interrupting you. They won't even let you make your case. That seems a little odd too, doesn't it?
Well, here's the thing. I think they know that the treatment works. I think that basically they're afraid to even let it be tried, because letting it be tried would show that it works. So the message has to be shut at all costs. because anything will leak out, and in fact it is leaking out. And you see across the country people who started to speak up, who've become almost deathly ill and have been turned around in 3 days or sooner even. And these are now public figures who are speaking up, who've said that the medicine saved their life. And it's very difficult to, close all the leaks in that dike that are being suppressed by the media that are trying to do that.
But it's also being suppressed by individuals in these various scientific and medical communities in the federal government who've been around a very long time, the bureaucrats, if you will, who are claiming that they're the ones following the science, and you and people like you are not following the science. And when we come back, I want to ask you about that as a professional, as an expert, a man who's been in this field for decades. What can be done when the bureaucrats of the federal government, who are backed up by the media, because, from a political perspective, this is how they approach it, what can be done in the private sector when you have experts, when you have people, professors at universities, doctors who've been practicing and say, wait a minute, we need access to this drug, our patients need access to this drug. We'll be right back.
Most sleep aids help you fall asleep, but they can wear off in a few hours. Nitro is clinically proven to help you sleep up to 7 hours by releasing melatonin in 2 stages so you can wake refreshed. Get 7 hours of sleep with Nitro.
One of my favorite supplements is quinol turmeric. Turmeric helps with healthy joints and inflammation support. Unlike regular turmeric supplements, quinol's superior absorption helps me get the full benefits of turmeric. Quinol is the turmeric brand I trust.
Bottom line is, moms love that Lando Frost premium sliced meats have no byproducts.
Looney, that's doing the call. Hey, Looney here.
I thought this was a no byproducts call.
Lando Frost Premium. Fresh look, same great taste.
No, wrong move. Old-fashioned bandages get dirty. They can let in water and germs. Look, it's falling off. New Skin is the flexible liquid bandage that seals out the bad stuff. There's a spray, too.
New Skin. Rethink how you heal.
Reacting to the RNC. After the Republicans kick off their convention, Laura breaks down the big night. Then, Shannon has analysis you won't get anywhere else. Monday on Fox News Channel.
Not wearing a mask in public is like not wearing a seatbelt because no one else is.
Or not wearing a life jacket because it's uncomfortable.
Or not wearing a helmet because it's just one plane.
Or not putting me in a car seat because they're only going down the block.
A mask is like anything that keeps us safe. It only works if you wear it.
So wear a mask when you're out in public, because we're all safer and stronger when we go all in, Illinois.
Hi, I'm Andrea Collins with Hippo Home Insurance. The new normal has changed so many things, like having to make TV spots in my home. But even with all these changes, we'll continue to put customers at the center of what we do. That's why we offer comprehensive enhanced coverage, the fastest online purchase experience in the industry, and savings of up to 25%. To find out more, just visit hippo.com today. Stay safe and healthy.
Amazing products for one incredible price. The FabFitFun members Picks box is here. Sign up for yours today at FabFitFun.com. Use code FALLFEELS for $10 off your first box.
Many of us have herpes, and managing outbreaks can be stressful. Between late-night searches, finding an appointment, and waiting in line at the pharmacy, It's become a huge pain. Meet Nurex, the easiest way to manage herpes. After an online medical consultation, Nurex will ship your medication for free in discreet packaging. Nurex is available with or without health insurance.
And you'll have a year of unlimited access to the Nurex medical team.
Take charge of your outbreaks from home with Nurex. Go to Nurex.com to get started.
Dr. Harvey Risch. Let's focus in on the FDA. The FDA is a huge bureaucracy. It's almost a dinosaur. Things are slowed down, they're chewed up. The president has made efforts to speed up certain types of life-saving drugs for people who are in extremis. I feel like that's what's happening to this drug. It's being chewed up by the FDA. What do you make of this?
So the FDA is a very strange organization that has a history of not making science-based, rational-based decisions about its approvals. This was started most noticeably in 1987 when people with AIDS in New York City were dying of what is called pneumocystis pneumonia, PCP. And the clinical experience then had been amassed of a large number of cases who were prevented from dying by use of the antibiotic Bactrim. This is, even then, was a generic medication and cheap. And activists obtained a meeting with Dr. Fauci and 15 of his selected scientists at FDA, at NIH, and asked Dr. Fauci just to make guidelines to physicians that they consider using Bactrim to treat preventively AIDS people so that they wouldn't die of this pneumonia. Dr. Fauci refused. He said, I want randomized, blinded controlled trial evidence. That's my gold standard, that or nothing. The activists left. The NIH did not fund any randomized trials. They raised money themselves from their own AIDS patients to collect the data to do a randomized trial. It took them 2 years. They came back to Dr. Fauci. During those 2 years, the FDA approved AZT as a treatment for AIDS. AZT works, but not completely. It needs other medications as well. And during the 2 years that it took them to get this data to come back to Dr. Fauci to support using Bactrim, 17,000 people with AIDS died because of Dr. Fauci's insistence on not allowing even a statement supporting consideration of the use. This has gone on before. Now we have Dr. Fauci denying that any evidence exists of benefit, and that's pervaded the FDA. The FDA has relied on Dr. Fauci and his NIH advisory groups to make the statement saying that there is no benefit of using hydroxychloroquine in outpatients. And this is counter to the facts of the case. The evidence is overwhelming. The FDA has also said that there is the harm of using these medications in outpatients overweighs the benefit. And in fact, they said this with no information, no evidence whatsoever of any harm in outpatient use. And this is provable both by the fact that the FDA's webpage has a warning against outpatient use, but says it relies on inpatient hospital data, which means they don't have any outpatient data, as well as the fact that 90% of the cases of COVID this year have occurred since the time that the FDA restricted usage to inpatients only. So the FDA knows that it has no data for outpatients and no data on harm, and yet it denied the Henry Ford petition for outpatient usage. Dr. Fauci and the FDA are doing the same thing that was done in 1987, and that's led to the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Americans who could have been saved by usage of this drug. And this is the same thing that the FDA has done. It's outrageous. People need to be writing or calling their congressmen and senators and complaining that this is not the way the country should work. That a bureaucracy that's in bed with other forces that are causing them to make decisions that are not based on the science, that is killing Americans, is not acceptable.
Well, at a minimum, they ought to be reaching out to experts like you and experts all over the country who have something to contribute to this. I mean, after all, it's a pandemic. And constantly going on TV and telling everybody to wear a mask over and over and over again and social distancing, that doesn't sound very scientific to me. I want to thank you, Dr. Risch, for your courage, for your insight, for publishing what you're publishing. I know that it can't be easy, but it's a very, very important public service. God bless you. We'll be right back.
At Safe Life, we're committed to taking care of you and your car. We'll fix it right with no contact service you can trust.
So if you have auto glass damage, stay safe with Safe Life.
Safe Life Repair, Safe Life Replace. We believe in best friends and new friends. At Del Webb, we believe in growth, movement, and the awesome power of the get-together. We believe in beautifully designed homes with innovative floor plans and living exactly how you want to live, surrounded by people who make life better. Del Webb, we believe you'll like it here.
History is being made. National Collectors Mint and the Cook Islands announced the 100th anniversary release of their 2021 Double Liberty Dollars. 1921 saw two monumental coin events. The very last Morgan dollar and the very first peace dollar were both struck, creating an historical rarity. Two different designs of the same denomination were minted in the same year. Now, 100 years later, the Morgan is the most collected silver dollar ever, and the peace dollar is the last silver dollar ever to circulate. Now, you can acquire this new 100th anniversary 2021 Double Liberty Dollar. This groundbreaking Cook Islands non-circulating legal tender issue is proof struck and clad in 71 milligrams of .999 pure silver. It features the familiar profiles of both the Morgan and the Peace Liberty head together for the first time, and the important 1921 to 2021 double date on the obverse. The Liberty Bell, Cook Islands imprimatur, and $1 denomination appear on the reverse. The 2021 Double Liberty Dollar is larger than both the U.S. Morgan Silver Dollar and the Peace Silver Dollar, featuring the highly prized frosted reliefs and mirror-like backgrounds so desired by collectors. Final issue price was to be set at $39, but now this .999 pure silver-clad masterpiece can be yours for just $9.95. It comes with a certificate of authenticity attesting to its legal tender status and silver content, protected by our unconditional 60-day money-back guarantee. There is a strict limit of 5 Double Liberty Dollars per order. First come, first served. So hurry. Avoid disappointment and future regret. Call now.
To order, call 1-800-396-1263. Strict limit of 5 per caller. Call 1-800-396-1263 or log on to doublelibertydollar.com.
All-new Sandals Montego Bay, Jamaica's newest and hottest resort. Call 1-800-SANDALS.
This is Kate. Hey. She takes 2 prescriptions. Kate's son Jack takes 1 too. Kate works hard and thought she had good insurance, but she still pays too much. That's no good. So Kate downloaded the GoodRx app. Now she can compare prescription prices to find the best discounts. She even beats her insurance price. Good for you, Kate. Good for you. GoodRx. Stop paying too much for your prescriptions. Download the free app today.
Welcome back. These two crucially important subjects, our electoral system and science in our healthcare. This is what happens when they're bastardized. This is what happens when free speech is attacked. This is what happens with the cancel culture. And who and what is responsible for this? It's an ideology. It is Marxism, call it democratic socialism, call it statism, call it progressivism, call it whatever you want. Those few of you who watch the Democrat National Convention, you heard it constantly. And yet the point of free speech is so we have ideas, so we can compare things, so there's competition, so we can figure out what to do, what's right. But more and more that doesn't exist. Try speaking out in favor of the president in a classroom, on civics, on any college campus. Try inviting a conservative or a non-leftist to speak at a graduation ceremony. Go to your local school board and see what they think when you say all lives matter. Just try it. Look at what's happened to our media, the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, MSNBC. They hate any media platform or individual who dares to speak out in a way that's different from them. This is why Fox is under constant attack. Talk radio is under constant attack. And those of you who think for yourselves are demeaned and degraded and are under attack. We're facing a very, very serious problem in this country. It's called tyranny. And it's the tyranny of the left. Look what's happening to our cities. Look what's happening to our schools. Look what's happening to our media. Look what's happening to our medicine. Look what's happening to our courts. And now look what's going to happen on Election Day. You need to be the Thomas Paines. You need to be the precinct workers. You need to talk to your family, friends, colleagues, and co-workers. It's not what can we do, it's what can you do, what can I do. You're a patriot, you know exactly what to do. November 3rd. See you next time on Life, Liberty, and Levin.